getting into that field and doing it and talking to other Black people in the field is so special.
Good.
It really is, because I think we're reaching out. We're helping people, letting them know it's safe. We create safe spaces for you to be able to talk about whatever it is that you need to talk about. I don't want you to feel like when you come in here that you have to be guarded. Is somebody listening? White man here? What's happening?
Right.
I don't want you to feel that way.
That's right.
I want you to feel like we're talking as two people, not two Black people.
That's right.
It's going to come about, but we're talking as two people, because I want to create you being looked at as a human over everything. And I'm going to make sure I advocate that to people who have to write up your report.
That's right.
Because once they look at that, I want you to know, listen, there might be some things that happen because the reason why they grew up with this particular trauma. So this is the reason why they act like this. And I know as a Black person that these different things happen for those particular reasons. So that's what's golden.
Same business, different day.
We are to be congratulated. We are the reason the roads are clogged and the traffic is bad, because we create the jobs.
That's right.
and we are to be congratulated for it. And so that was our trend. The technology drives the business and drove the suburbs in D.C. And so along the way, we gave awards. And one year, I don't know which one it was, the guys got together and presented me with this nice, called Titan of Technology surprise gift. Yeah. All right. It's still one of my prized possessions.
Love it.
And so I love that title.
No, and I'm so glad you said that, because I want business owners to hear this, or potential business owners.
Yes.
You can replace pretty much everything, right? You can replace money. It's time, you can't replace it.
That's right.
So it is minute by minute, like how do we shave time all the time?
And then all of a sudden you're expected to go into the adult world, work, and a lot of times people with epilepsy have to hide their condition because there's a lot of discrimination. People are afraid to hire people with epilepsy, worried if they have a seizure on the job, could they get sued by the person, or will clients stop going to their doing business with them? And most people like myself, even when my seizures were controlled, I had maybe one a week. The government, their attitude is, well, yeah, you are sick, but you're not sick enough. Find a way to work around this and take care of yourself. So that's why there's we need so much more to help adults so that they can get better education. We really need to improve the workforce opportunities. And just, I want people to see that despite the challenges people with epilepsy have, we can contribute to society.
Right.
There's no reason to isolate us. And I found the only way I really can get through to people about it is when I put it into numbers. I was talking to someone one day and I said, there's 3.4 million people in the country with epilepsy. 70% can control their seizures, but so many end up on disability because of trying to constantly find gainful employment, the stress of trying to get good health care. There's a lot of, I hate to say it a lot, there's either great doctors or there's horrible doctors. Trying to find someone in the middle is nearly impossible. So if they can't get good health care, if they can't get good mental wellness care, if they can't have employment, their health deteriorates. Eventually they give up and go on disability. They get an attorney and say, I'm done, I tried.
Right.
Now, if we could stop the stigma, if we could stop those games and help people get into gainful employment, create their own business, learn a trade, something. I said, could you imagine the economic growth if 70% of 3.4 million got put into the workforce?
Right.
What it would do to our communities, what it would do for our society.
Yes.
And when I put it that way, they were like, I never thought of it that way.
Through this COVID ordeal, it's been hard. I've been consulting for Zuki in San Diego, and it's been hard to find staff, to be able to get people to work. I think it's through everything that's gone on. Everybody's still kind of fearful of COVID and everything that's going on out there, along with whatever the government is trying to do to assist. So it's been a challenge. But for us being small, again, we're looking to create those jobs. So we have a few, we couldn't get enough people, so I had to go and hire teenagers, which is also great, you know, for my way of doing business and me growing up in the business. You were a teenager
when you got hired, right?
Exactly. So I feel it's great to hire teenagers and train them, teach them, mold them to the business culture, and essentially teach them those valuable work ethics.
Back to learning from my mistakes. So I wish I would have known then, like a little bit what I know now. In that, well, no, I just like
drop the lessons. No, this is good.
I had a tendency to blame other people for what was happening.
I like that.
Right?
I like that.
So if I had academic troubles at Boulder, well, the teacher doesn't get me, or there's no resource here for me. Like there's nobody telling me to go to class. There's nobody outlining my homework.
Yes.
Like, this sucks. Like they did me wrong, you know?
Yeah.
And I wish I could like shake that me and just be like, dude, it's your fault, bro.
My grandfather flew for the Navy in World War II, and I grew up with his stories and hearing about that. And he went to the Naval Academy, and so I think pretty early on, that's what I wanted to do.
Now you told me that you went into the Navy as well. Was your grandfather one of your mentors?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so tell me about the Naval Academy. Tell me about that military experience.
Oh, I've blocked it all out. I don't remember the good parts. You know, that's the beautiful thing.
Remember the good parts is important in life.
It was Purgarcito. Purgarcito is a little guy, you know, and he would be one of those. He would be very fast. But what happened was that there was a cat that had special boots.
Okay.
And so he could never go as fast as this cat. So one day he decided that, well, the only way I can beat him up is if I steal the boots.
Okay.
And then I'm going to challenge and he's not going to be able to. But he challenged him to say, no matter, if you don't have the boots, you cannot do it. You know. And then the cat said, don't steal my boots. I'm going to lend you the boots. So, and the Purgarcito said, voila, I'm going to win this, you know. And so he put the boots on, and the cat said, are you ready? Yeah. So let's go. So the cats take off. Remember, the boots are the one that give him the speed and the jumping very high.
Yeah.
But he take off, and then he stopped, look back, and Purgarcito was still in the same spot with the boots. He said, I can't move. You can't move. He said, what's the secret? He said, you see? It's not about necessarily the boots in itself, but how you use those boots.
How do you use your tools?
I was thinking about that before, and I have two entrepreneurs in my life that I think made a pretty big difference. One was my uncle. He owns his own construction company, and he was always the rich uncle, which is a good thing to have. You know, like as a kid, you're just like, oh, he's an entrepreneur and he's killing it more than anyone else I know.
Right.
And then one of my friends, Scott Slater, he owns a couple of I started working with him like on a small scale and worked my way up, and that kind of led me to the path that I'm on.
Of kind of the entrepreneur. So you actually had ideas early on of maybe having your own thing.
I always wanted to just be rich, and I figured you're better off working for yourself than working for someone else. I'm not rich yet, though, just for the record.
You say that now.
Yeah, not yet, but we're getting there.
By the time this releases.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah, and you make a good segue to balance. I'm not very good at that oftentimes. I tend to run too hard at one thing and burn out, and then I run too hard the other way. And so as I was realizing that I was going to have to make the career change to publish the book, I was scared to death. I was just scared to death.
Yeah.
But I was also realizing I'm not going to not do it. Like, I'm scared to death, but I'm doing it anyway.
Yes.
And I also know about myself that I tend to get myself out of balance. And so right before I quit my job, I tattooed "Fear Nothing" on my left forearm, and I tattooed a scale on my right forearm. Just to remind myself that, hey, you're not very good at these two things, so focus on them.
Exactly. And here's the thing too, is like, you can't look at everyone as a dollar sign. I look at everyone as a relationship and as a pathway, a pathway to support them, a pathway to support me, a pathway to get to someone that they know that I could support. It's not just an easy black and white one-way street. It's like, it's a pathway to relationships, and you don't know where those relationships are going to go. So if you're just leading with the sale, you're missing out on so many opportunities and connections.
That's right.
You don't even know you're missing out on because
100%.
you're just leading with the sale. And you just,
100%.
it's not a good look. It's really not a good look.
And I take a bus to 1 block from my friend. And guess who pulls up as I'm walking down that 1 block? My dad. And he goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm going, "Well, I'm back." He goes, "Well, you're not back with me." And then he drives off. He's pissed.
Oh, God.
Okay. So for the next 2 weeks, so I try to go back to school, and they go, "No, you got to bring a parent in."
Yep.
And I'm like, "Oh, God." So all day long, I would just kind of hang out, you know? And so all the kids used to hang out in Whitwood Center in Whittier and just go to Jolly Roger and just do nothing but just hang out. And so my dad suddenly shows up one day, and he comes up and he goes, "Look," he goes, "we're moving to Sierra Madre." He goes, "You got 2 choices. You can come with us, or you can go to juvenile hall." He says, "It's your choice." And I said, "Well, God, I guess we're going to Sierra Madre, you know."
Right.
But that turned into being the most pivotal cultural thing I have ever had happen. Because Whittier was exactly like American Graffiti. Hot rods, low riders, girls, you know, all that whole thing. Suddenly I'm in this place where it's artists, dope dealers, musicians, belly dancers.
A lot of education is where we can help them. You know, here's are the things you need, you know, insurance, basic things that creatives sometimes don't think about. Budget is a huge issue for creatives.
You should know it before getting into it.
Yes, yes. And I think those are things you figure out as a creative, like the amount of time you actually spend on things and what you're charging is a huge like leap to get through, because when you get the job, sometimes you'll just take it and you're like, I just want to do it. Like, I love this. I have such a passion for this. And they're like, then you only have this budget. And you're like, I'm not going to make anything on this, you know? And you kind of have to make the decision, like, do you do it, you know, and know that you might not make it, or are you going to make it and make the money? And I think that's kind of that leap is you have to make a decision, especially when you have to support yourself. Like, how do I get from here to here?
Right. Yeah, exactly. We talk a lot about networking on this show.
Yeah.
But that's an angle I haven't heard before.
Yeah. So when we moved to Florida for my wife's job, and I got out of golf, and I started with New York Life, you know, and then eventually went over to MetLife, and, you know, figured out that I'm not that good at sales. So
golf is fine, but
like if we were out on the golf course and I was talking to somebody and trying to help them with their correct decision, that's great. But if we're sitting in an office with a suit on, it's probably not my niche.
That's a different story.
It was so interesting to be not the dumb kid, but you know, the student that didn't understand, and it gave me a great empathy for that people learn differently, and that, and maybe that, because oftentimes you get labeled, and it gave me a different viewpoint as to, wow, maybe they can't. They're not comprehending what they're reading. Maybe they're reading the words, but they don't understand.
That's right.
And so, or maybe they aren't a visual learner. Maybe they're an audit. You know, maybe they learn. Maybe people learn differently. That's right. So it gave me such great empathy for others, because I think I was a little. I mean, it really saved me, I think, as a person in a way, because I was a straight A student, and I mean, I kind of looked at people sideways, and so I think that it was really humbling for me to be the kid that didn't have all the answers. That's right. And I really love that.
And a lot of people need that. A lot of people need to be humbled. Thank you for listening to Same Business, Different Day. We truly appreciate your support. Please like, subscribe, and leave a nice comment on all platforms. It really helps our show. The Same Business, Different Day podcast is produced by A Different Day Radio, Star Fox Media, and James Russell.